Let's pretend that you watched previous videos and found a band that you like. After that, you even subscribed to their Instagram page. One day, you see a tour announcement, and one of the shows is even in your city, quite literally 30 minutes away from your home. Tickets are expensive, but acceptably expensive. So you decided to get a ticket and go to the concert. But have you ever attended such events before? Do you know what will be happening there? What would a smart homie do in this situation? Either ask more experienced homies or search for the answers on the internet. So, here we are. Hey homies, if we're not familiar yet, my name is Grisha and this is Homies Music Club. Today we talk about heavy music concerts and what is usually going on over there. First of all, I need to mention that the phrase heavy music here is used in the broadest context possible, including everything between rock music and modern metalcore, because heavy directions of music have more or less same crowd attitude, but there are some differences. We will get back to it later. One of the biggest questions for a lot of people going to concerts, movie theaters, and other activities of this type is, should I go on my own if I don't have a company? And the only adequate answer I see is yes, absolutely. Because first of all, the show is about the emotional connection between you and the artist. Of course, it's better to have close friends who share the same interests with you at that moment. But you also shouldn't deprive yourself of joy if there are none. If you're afraid of people around you, or you think that somebody will mock you because of quite literally any reason you could make up in your head, let me assure you, nobody gives a single care. Because every single person around you has their own problems to think about. And it applies almost everywhere, not only in the music field. Also, there is no objective reason for you not to try to make new friends in the concert environment. Especially because if you have social anxiety, attempts to talk to people with similar interests will inevitably lead you to improvements in this field. It works with every skill. At first, we suck at walking. Then we are not. First time you suck at playing guitar. But then not so much. The first time it's scary to start a conversation with people that you don't know. But then at some point... The tours usually consist of 3 to 4 artists per show. The doors for the crowd open around 6 p.m. But it needs to be double checked before every single show, either on a ticket website or via band's Instagram page. Usually the show starts 1 hour after the doors open. Which means that if the door were open at 6, the first band of the night would start playing at 7. But sometimes the doors open just 30 minutes before the first band's set. Every following band will have a little more time than the previous one. So if the opening band has a 25 minutes long set, then the headliner will start around 9:30 and will play for approximately an hour. I recommend you not to play games with the live and get to the venue 20 minutes after the door time. Also, there is a chance that the door open time will be delayed and you will have to stay outside of the venue in a big line. If there is a cold weather or it's raining outside, be ready for that. Don't be the dude who get to the venue by car and now has to stand in line wearing just a t-shirt in January. I know that at least Northeastern Americans are bad weatherproof, but still. Cold check across the globe is a gamble. In all the Moscow concert clubs that I have ever been, there always was a free cold check that worked all year long. No matter if it was a 1200 capacity Volta club or 7000 capacity stadium. But in the land of freedom, some clubs might not have a cold check at all. And if they do, it usually costs $5. Some of them want you to pay cash only. Some of them want you to pay cards only. In some places, cold check works from December to March. And if it's a really cold April day, then unfortunately this game is impossible to win unless you're prepared for quite literally anything. Concerts are loud. No matter if it is open space festival or club shows, it's always loud. And you don't want to get a hearing damage, so you have to play it smart, homie. Before the show, You would better either buy yourself a hearing protection in the form of earbuds or use your headphones as the one. In case it's not possible, don't worry. Just don't stay in front of PA and you will be fine, for once. But you'll have to get an ear protection before the next show. When you get inside the venue, you will have to choose your spot. Usually people unconsciously tend to stand in the middle of the dance floor closer to the stage. But in our case, it's a good idea only if you're young and have a full medical coverage. And there is a reason for this. The pit. It's a wonderful place in the middle of the room where all the magic happens. Angry teenagers, meter 50 Amazonians, and couple of tusks coming together to welcome each other in a very violent manner. It would be better for you just to stay away from it the first time you're there. So you could ask, and where to stay then? I made a safety map especially for this occasion, so let's break it down. Ta-da! The red zone on the map is the pit. Most of the time, it magically appears in the middle of the dance floor right after the first band starts to play. Or if you're in New York City, you will see a dude in swimming glasses who will yell at the crowd to make some space before the show even starts. Inside the pit, you could see some interesting activities. First worth mentioning is mosh. It's when people perform some hardcore dancing moves, but people around sometimes interpret it as an invitation to the fight. Quite awkward sometimes, but it's a part of the culture. Moshing mostly happens on the core genre shows because it came straight from the hardcore punk scene. I have never seen moshing on rock or metal shows. Slam is when people pretend that they're in a subway on a peak hour. It could happen everywhere, because even your grandpa loved slam. Circle pit is when people show one another how to properly run away from their own problems and from themselves. Mostly counterclockwise. God only knows why. Wall of Death usually happens when the vocalist says split this place in two. What happens after is just a more epic looking version of slam. In case of absence of initiative people in the crowd, it could accidentally turn into wall of life. Crowd surfing is when several people from the crowd lift the person and throw them towards the scene, praying that people who are not aware of this will invite the sudden gym invitation and carry the person towards the securities, who will place them back on the ground safely. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first ever Russian language lesson on this channel. The phrase that we are learning here today sounds like bait на хуйню, which quite literally means bait for dumb shit. How did the bait turn into the bite? It is a magic of Russian English transliteration. And what does it usually look like? There is a chance that one day you will see in front of you a sexy left-handed Australian. He will look at you like really unfriendly, and what he will say might sound like, I wanna see bodies over bodies, which means that he won't see a lot of crowd surfers during the next show segment. And this is clearly bite на хуйню. It would be better for you not to follow this instruction. And here's why. Because what the vocalist will see is the bodies over bodies, and another opportunity to fight securities who doing their job not as good as he wants them to. What the securities will see is a ton of crowd surfers that almost impossible to catch on time without letting someone get hurt. What the people in the crowd will see is how somebody that they don't really want to carry will kick them in the head. And what some of the crowd surfers might see is a concrete floor 2 meters away that's getting closer incredibly fast. Дети, не дайте забайтить себя на хуйню. Stage diving is basically reversed crowd surfing. It's when people jump from the scene to the crowd. Mostly happen on hardcore shows because hatred towards themselves and people around are very high on hardcore fans. These are the most frequently happening pit activities. It's actually more, and I pray all the gods I know that one day, maybe one day, I will see the slow dance in the pit. It will be a really good day. The orange zone is a little bit safer than the pit, but not that much. People in the front rows have the best view, and sometimes some of them might even unlock the perk called Sing Along with a Stranger Nearby. There is just two problems with this zone. People from the pit will push you to the fence the entire show. Stage divers and crowd surfers will make sure that you will not skip gym this week. If you are young and want the best level of connection with the artist on scene, but also like to be responsible for other people's well-being and accidentally get kicked in the head sometimes, then it's a good spot for you. In any other cases, let's check out other options. The yellow zone is some kind of a sweet spot. Most of the activities take place relatively far from you, and you could just stand and watch the show relatively close to the scene. What else do you need? God witness, I love green. Green is an amazing color, but not in this case, because it is safe, but also very far from the scene. If you go for the evening or get some beers with a homie, with some background noise, then that's a good spot. In any other case, it makes perfect sense to trade a little bit of your safety for a much better concert experience. The ways of the concert lord are mysterious. So mysterious that you could start the show around the homies in one spot and end it somewhere else around the strangers only. Sometimes people even lose their phones on the concerts, so it makes perfect sense if you get to the show not on your own to get an agreement where you will meet your friends after the show. Near the bar, for example, near the merch table, near the bathroom, wherever. You just need the exact spot. Points of meeting must be determined before the show starts. Or if one of your friends is a professional hunter, just stay where you are after the show ends. If you are relatively close to the scene, you have a chance to get a guitar pick, drumstick, or a set list. That could be thrown on a dance floor after the show is over. Mostly the headliners do so, but sometimes support bands do that too. If you feel like you want to ask an artist to sign something for you, here's what you need to do. You need to wait until the entire show is over and try to find them near the scene, near the merch table, or sometimes even near the venue's entrance. It almost never happens to the headliners of the shows that took place in the clubs bigger than 1000 people capacity, but the guys from the support bands definitely will be there somewhere. I even have a signed book as a proof that 139 times this strategy worked for me. I hope it will work for you either. You just need to know who you are looking for and how these guys look. Pro level players in this game even know the names of the persons that they want to say something to. Getting questions ready before the conversation even starts, and try to not to spend too much time around them if an artists are not really interested in this conversation. A valuable life skill, by the way. The best way to end the concert day and close the calories deficit is to have some snacks with your homies. Quite unhealthy, but once a month or even rarely, it's fine. It's always cool to be able to discuss what you just saw in a good company with something yummy to have. As a wise man once said, food for the food god, camaraderie for the camaraderie throne. If you decide to be a crowd surfer, please keep as much muscles and tension as possible, because it's 1000 times easier to carry a log than a gigantic pack of jelly. And because it's easier, chances to get anyone hurt getting lower. Don't film the entire show on your phone. Just enjoy the moment here and now. You could be friendly and respectful towards other people, but there is still the chance that some aggressive moron will get to the pit just to cause damage to someone. Which is a shame, but it is what it is. Appreciate the tasks, because these bearded boys will get you up as fast as possible if you fall, even if you think that they are not really friendly. Most likely they are friendly. I remember back in 2018, I was in the Circle Pit on the Prodigy's show, and the person in front of me fell. People started falling like dominoes, and when the sixth person fell on me exactly, I was just looking at the floor, and I had a spark of thought that I might not get back home today. So just 10 seconds after, Big Birdie Boys just lifted me up, clapped me on the shoulder, and we continued our way away from ourselves in the circle pit. Concert etiquette is magic, and the tasks are our fairies. That's it for now. If you think that I forgot something interesting, which easily might happen, please be a big homie and start the discussion about it in the commentary section. It definitely will be useful for other homies. If you made it that far, it means that you are my core audience. Thank you so much for this. And as my gratitude to you, I think it would be fair to let you choose what you want to see on the channel next time. It could be a video about what to do if after the show you feel the urge to get yourself a musical instrument. Or it might be a video about a pack of stories from the book with signatures, because there's a lot of them. Or anything else heavy music related that you are personally interested in. Please let me know in the comments. You are very welcome here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't hesitate to like, ask any questions in the commentary section, and join the Homies Music Club for more. See you in the next one.